It's Ryan here, and today I'm going to help you solve 3 common magic prop problems in today's episode of Ryan's Tips and Tricks for Magicians. What could be more classic than reaching into the air and producing a beautiful silk handkerchief? Few things. However, unfortunately, most times it comes out looking more like a silk rag. How do you remove wrinkles from your silks? You don't want to necessarily iron them because they're very prone to being burnt. You may have heard this stuff before, but if you haven't, it's great. So this is the tip. Normally people talk about this in terms of using a mirror, but I figure, hey, we've got it here. Might as well go back to things we've already done and use any hard, smooth surface. So you need a hard, smooth surface, such as the sign that we made, and then you need some water. Now you take your handkerchief and you soak it. Get it wet. Thoroughly wet. It's looking like it's about to turn into a snowstorm, but I assure you, just silk. So you take that very wet handkerchief against the bathroom mirror or any hard, flat, smooth surface. You just take your handkerchief, stick it against that surface, and smooth it out. It will stick. This sign's actually just a touch too small for this handkerchief, but it'll stick to the mirror, to the surface, and then just leave it. When it dries, it will naturally fall off onto the mirror. Make sure you don't have it falling into a wet sink. Otherwise, it's an endless cycle of silk smoothing. For our next tip, this is a super soft sponge ball. Exhibit A. This is as it comes out of the case. This is a same super soft sponge ball ready to perform. Notice a difference? Obviously one is a lot more round, a lot more plump, a lot more flexible, a lot more compressible. The only difference is this one has been wetted or moistened. Basically, anytime you're ready to perform with sponge balls before the show, you want to take them all and you can either run them under water and squeeze them out and then damp them in a towel. Just try and get off all the moisture. I'm trying to avoid handing a sponge ball to someone and they go, "Why is this damp?" That's what I'm trying to avoid. So make sure it's dried out, but it'll stay springy for a long time compared to this kind of hard, solid, non-compressed sponge ball. The other thing you can do, and this is a much more practical tip I learned from a friend, James Jordan. He taught me you can take your handful of sponge balls that you want to get ready for the show and just do this. Just breathing hot, warm, moist air into your handful of sponge balls. Do this for a little bit, and already that flat sponge ball is now looking a lot more plump. Now it's not quite as much as the fully wetted sponge ball, but in a pinch, that's really going to help your sponge balls pop back to life. Other tip on this, if you wet them under water, use cold water. Hot water will very much make the dye run. You'll end up with red hands. I mean, you do a little bit anyways, but even more severely with hot water. That's tip number 2, and we got one more coming up. Tip number 3 for today concerns rope. You're working with a piece of rope. It ends up looking like this. In fact, this one's pretty severe. It has a spare flap coming up. But it ends up looking like this. Very frayed, very messy. This is the soft cotton magic rope. Obviously, that's not very presentable for a lot of tricks if you're reusing rope. So here is a tip on what to do with your ends of a rope. Cut off the extra frayed end. Step 1. Step 2. Get yourself a pencil or a pen or anything sharp with a bit of a pokey end. Now, watch close. What you do, you take that end. You're going to use the pencil to fold it inside itself. This has to be hollow rope. You take the end, you fold it inside itself. You kind of pinch it and grab on. Go to the next section. Push it down inside of itself. Go to the next section, push it inside of itself, and you work your way around that rope, poking until you end up, give it a little roll, you end up with this, which is a tucked into itself end of the rope. It makes a little bit of a nub on the end. If you're doing tricks that require you to know where the end of that rope is, you can feel the end of the rope coming. It's not going to slip through your fingers. No glue required. It will stay in there as long as you don't hit it against things. That will make it come out, but otherwise it's going to stay pretty solid for quite a long time. And takes a second. No glue required. Any pen, any pencil. And you can have all your ropes looking nice and neat and ready for the show. There you go. So we've gone from a messy rope to a nice clean rope. And that is your 3 magical problem solver tips. If you like this, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan, and I'll see you next time.